Hey everybody, welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. You can join us every Thursday for discussion about the latest in gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I'm one of your hosts today in person with our other two hosts. I'm Alex Van Aken, by the way, joined by Charles Harte. How you doing, Charles?
I'm good. I'm full-time now, which means I'm never leaving.
And you're at events with us.
I'm at events.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hitting the town.
Yeah. We're going to be talking Switch 2. We've got Rogersbase joining us later. And then we're going to be talking about Summer Game Fest alongside Marcus Stewart.
Hello! Look at us in person. This doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't. We got to cherish it.
I know. The first time I've gotten to meet Charles in person and see his mythical height.
Yeah,
myself.
you are. I have noticed, Charles, you have longer legs because torso-wise.
Yeah, no.
Torso, you're.
Yeah, we were trying to figure
pretty-
out what kind of tall you were. If it was
it's
torso
legs
or
tall.
it's legs.
I'm kind of built like Mike Wazowski if he had a head on top of his other head, you know? Where it's like, it's mostly limbs and then kind of like a little torso.
Can we do like a live like height comparison? Like, can we stand?
Just between the two of us?
Yeah,
Will
I
we
don't
still
know
be
if
in
we-
frame?
Can we?
No.
Would it be
Well,
funnier to see him out of frame for like a
You're
second?
both going to be out of
Well,
frame.
we can cut in a clip of us.
Oh, yeah,
standing
we'll
near
put in
each
a clip.
other.
Yeah, for people that are wondering like how tall Charles actually is in the video version at least.
We can put.
Hold
We'll
on
do
here.
We'll do it by the door.
I don't want to forget, so let's
Yeah,
do
we'll
it
do it right
now.
Okay, we're doing it now.
doing
We're
it
standing
now.
up, everybody. Here we go. We're standing.
All right, stand up. I got you.
Okay, dramatically at the same time.
Wide angle.
And here we go. We're standing up. Audio listeners, we're standing up. I'm looking at Charles.
Okay, this angle makes it look ridiculous.
Like literally for audio listeners, like, because I'm 6. What are you?
Do you want to go over to the door? I think that's like a comparison. You don't think so?
I don't know if we want to
No,
move
I got
too
the lamp
much.
in the shot.
But yeah, because
Oh,
how
that's
tall are
fine.
you?
I'm 6'6".
I'm 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my shoulders are significantly lower than your shoulders.
Yeah, makes a difference.
And yeah, for audio listeners, I'm like it feels cool, I guess, to look up at this. And it's I don't know if it's funnier because you're significantly taller, but there's also a significant age gap between us.
Yes.
And not that really should play a factor in height, but there is like a semi-humorous sort of like there's something about that dynamic.
Yeah. No, it's pretty
nice.
common for me. I'm the smallest and the biggest at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Little Big Man, good Dustin Hoffman movie.
I love Little Big Man too, where you could create the levels, you know?
I thought you were gonna. I don't know why I thought you were gonna make a.
like that.
What was the Marlon Wayans movie where he's a baby from like the 2000s, like Wee Man, Little Wee Man? I thought you were gonna. You know what I'm talking
just
about?
brought up. I do not remember the
Do you know what I'm
plot.
talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking
It's
about.
not a good
because-
movie. You don't want to. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh God! Wow. Yeah.
Can we talk about a video game?
Yeah. Let's talk about video games. Last time we talked about Blackfish, the documentary, and a bunch of non-video game.
We
movies.
gotta come up with a new, weird, obscure
Yeah.
film every time.
Bad Marlon Wayans movie.
Yeah. Wee Baby. What was it called?
Little
Man-
Wee.
Wee
You're
Man?
gonna make me look at this up.
No. I like it better. Wee Baby.
Wee Baby.
He's a wee baby because of video games.
That sounds like a cool phrase, like Wee Baby.
Wee baby.
Like saying Wee
Yo,
Baby.
that'd be a good rapper ad lib. Wee Baby.
Okay, no, it's not. We're moving on.
He's saying you ruined it, Charles.
I'm tired.
That's what he's trying to say.
It's like what time
It'll
is it?
become my catchphrase. I'll integrate it into the show. It'll
Yeah.
make sense eventually.
It's 10 p.m. On Sunday of Summer Game Fest. Marcus, you and I went to June 8th. Thank you. Marcus, you and I went to an Xbox invite-only event today.
Yeah, Xbox Showcase earlier today.
Yeah.
as well.
You played Ninja Gaiden 4. I went hands-on with the Xbox Ally, the ROG Xbox Ally X, which is like the beefy new handheld, one of 2 coming later this holiday. That was officially announced during their showcase. I played Outer Worlds 2. I also played Grounded 2. We'll get into that later. I'm gonna get to you in a second, Charles. But Marcus, you also played Pragmata,
Yeah.
Resident Evil Requiem. Anything else that we're gonna touch on?
Those are probably the big 3 for me. Yeah.
Charles, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
I think the main ones I can talk about are the stuff I did at Annapurna. So I played Morsels, which was great.
Yeah.
I played a game called Snap and Grab, which I think was revealed this week. And I played Mixtape, which Mixtape is one of those games that I've been excited for. I didn't know if a demo was going to do it justice, and now I'm like I was really impressed with the demo. It was just great.
Cool. And like I said at the top, we have Rogersbase joining us later, taking my spot on the podcast, but it'll be a good time diving into the Switch 2. Marcus is going to show off his first reactions to the Switch 2.
Yes.
QVC style, I think.
Yeah, first time I've ever held a Switch 2 because mine has not come in the mail at the time we're recording.
Yeah, and to be clear, we already recorded that segment. That's why I know it turns out like a QVC-esque show. But Marcus, let's get into yours. I think you've got like the big heavy hitters this week. I mean, Pragmata, Resident Evil. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Resident Evil.
Yeah, we got
That's
to.
the big one, right? It's probably, of all the new game reveals, that's probably up there. Yeah, so Capcom had a theater presentation where we got to see 30 minutes of hands-off, just like a straight gameplay demo of the game that takes place immediately after the end of the reveal trailer, where you see Grace Ashcroft, our new protagonist, in a sticky situation, trapped in this what appears to be a sort of like hospital, maybe psych ward somewhere in there. It's unclear, but like in a mansion, like those old like hospital mansions, basically.
Okay, yeah.
You know the ones.
Like the ones with like infirmaries.
I was born in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that they
Were you
have-
actually?
No.
Like, that'd be an insane lore drop casually in the middle of the conversation.
It's like a mixture of like an orphanage, an infirmary, and a hospital. Kind
Yeah, like an amalgamation of those things.
Yeah, just like old
Yeah.
creepy building.
Yeah. So we got to watch footage of that, and then I got to play behind closed doors demo of that same section. So got hands-on time with Resident Evil Requiem. As we know, is the director of Resident Evil 7 behind it, and I will say right off the bat, the game is very Resident Evil 7 coded, at least in this demo. And, you know, and by that I mean, you know, 7 was very much like tension, scares, like it was like we're taking away a lot of your defenses and you're really just trying to run and hide from these things. And it feels like that immediately where, you know, it begins with Grace escaping from her restraints that you see in the trailer. And then the moment you open the first door, you just see pitch black darkness in this hallway. And it's just like, it's almost mean-spirited. Because it's like you have nothing in your inventory.
You idiot. You thought you got out.
You have to leave the safety of the only lit room that you can see.
Yeah.
And you immediately start hearing just like a lot of unsaid, like the sound design is on point, playing with headphones, of course. And you're just hearing all these weird bumps and creaks. And you're just like, I don't know what is like a threat or what is just old house noises. And it's like, all right, I'm in. And you're making your way through the mansion. And I'll have a written preview about this as well. I won't spoil too much, but the only enemy I came across in this demo was a new persistent enemy. So kind of in the vein of a Mr. X or a Lady Dimitrescu, there is a new, very horrifying creature in this house. The best, actually, I know I've said Resident Evil 7, but another great comparison to what I played is the dollhouse in Resident Evil Village. In terms of just like the vibe and what you have to do during this section of like you're in this largely dark area. The lights are unreliable. Like you turn some on and then maybe it'll stay on for a bit and it turns off. The only things I found there was no combat in this demo whatsoever. Capcom during the presentation made a point to say, hey, Grace is not really a great fighter. It's not her thing necessarily, even though she works for the FBI. So it was really interesting how there was no combat. I never got a weapon. I got a bottle that I could throw to distract enemies. Other than that, I found a lighter. And that kind of became my thing. It's like, I got to go into this like pitch dark room. I have this light of this lighter. And then I'm running into this creature that gets around the house by escaping into the ceiling. And so, like, and it also does the thing of, it does the jack.
Like air ducts kind of thing?
No, it's literally just, like, when you'll notice sometimes when you look up, you'll see just, like, holes in the ceiling. Like, it has, like, punched its way through, and you're like, okay, that's probably not a good sign. And you can hear it moving around up there.
What is the sound? Is it like a scurry? Is it
Like,
a loud?
no, it's a big. Like, this creature is literally, like, it barely fits in the hallway. It's doing, like, the kind of, like, hunch out. So you're hearing, like, boom, boom. And you can see the lights shaking if it's like over like a lamp or like a chandelier or something.
Oh my God.
And and there's a little bit of PT because you're going down hallways and you'll see like the creak, creak, creak. And you're like, okay, I don't know. PT as like, I think of that now when I think of like shaky, scary lamps. But it was like it was like a 30-minute segment, like I said. you're just trying to escape this section basically. Is like you're trying to find a fuse box to open a gate that's blocking the rest of the I guess the rest of the hospital / mansion, whatever it is. And just trying to I'm just trying to dodge this thing. Like I'm just sneaking around, trying to distract it. There is a trick to it that I cannot spoil in terms of like what you need to do to stay away from it. And then but it plays super well. It plays like Resident Evil. Like I did like the Resident Evil thing, like, oh, here's a locked door that needs a special key that has like a cherub on it. I got to find the cherub key. I got to, like mentioned, like I got to find a fuse for a fuse box. Like it's hitting the greatest hits of Resident Evil. So it's like, there was nothing in this demo that was like, whoa, never seen this before. Yeah. It's just like, all right, locked in. This thing is terrifying. I'm ready for another one of these. They've had a steady cadence of like when we get a new one. And now that like cooldown meter of like, it's been a long time since Village. And, RE4 was great too, but in terms of like, we're back to the numbered ones, the first person ones, it's terrifying. However, I say first person, this is maybe the only demo I've ever seen where the one last thing was a menu option. So we see the conclusion of the demo in the theater presentation, and then it makes a point to show someone going into the menu, going to the options, and toggling a new option to go from first to third person. So for the first time in Resident Evil Requiem, you can play the game in either first person or third person, and you can switch between the two at any time while you're playing. It's like on the fly. So when I played my demo, so the demo or the presentation, it was in first person. So I made a point to play most of my demo in third person just to see the differences.
Yeah.
And there's no like gameplay difference. Like, even like some of the cutscenes that were in first person are like in third, and then other ones are still in first person. It kind of depends on like, this was framed in first person, this like jump scare, so we're just gonna keep that the same. But there was like one instance where like you open a closet in a room and it's like not a story thing, and like a lamp falls out and it's like, oh, it is like a jump scare. But like I played it again third person and you just see Grace kind of like same thing, but just like I was like, oh, okay, so maybe there's little things where they do shift the camera a little bit. But yeah, it was also interesting is that in the menu, they say for first person, it's labeled as recommended experience. Yeah. So I guess it's like, it's scarier because first person's scarier, but it is cool to finally have the option and just be able to switch freely between the two. But yeah.
Also, some people can't play first person games.
That too.
Motion sickness, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So
what do you think you're going to be doing?
I'm doing first.
First?
It's kind of like, they've had this cadence for a while of like, new game remake, where it's like the remakes are always third person because that's what those games were. And to me, like mainline Resident Evil now is first person. And since we don't get those all the time, I want to play it in first person. And also I'm a horror guy. I want to be scared. Second, that'll be like a second playthrough thing for third person, I mean. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It's doing what I want from Resident Evil. It looks great. And yeah, I'm psyched.
Hell yeah. You also at Capcom, you played Pragmata, which was, when was that first revealed?
So I had to look it up. Yeah, 2020 at the PlayStation 5 reveal event.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
What did we see there?
If you forget, it's like the space astronaut guy with the little girl.
Yeah.
And I feel like they were hovering over a city or something.
They were on Earth. Like you saw like they were space and then it was like on Earth.
Oh, you're right.
Which that mood piece, I wonder how much of that is representative of the game or if it was just a tone piece, especially at this point.
Yeah.
But so the premise of the game is that you play a guy named Hugh Williams, who is like the astronaut guy. And the idea is that him and a team are sent to this lunar research station on the moon where for whatever reason, because there was like, it went silent suddenly. Like, oh, we're not hearing back from these guys. Go up there to see what happened. You get there. There's some sort of like a quake, it said in a demo, like an earthquake on the moon. I don't know, but it was like, and it devastates everything. He gets hurt. And then kind of where my demo started, because I got to play Pragmata, is where Hugh is kind of like injured. And then the little girl, Diana, who is not actually a girl, but is an android that just looks like a young girl, she finds you and patches you up. And you guys just work together to try to escape back to Earth. And the problem is that you're trapped on a station where there's this AI that has kind of like mistaken you as threats and has kind of like unleashed its security systems, which are like...
Is that what there was like an intro to the trailer, there was like an AI corporation?
Yeah, it's like...
It occurred to me that was the robots that are turning against you.
Yeah, it's like this AI is like sicking these robots.
Yeah, okay. That
Yeah.
was probably.
So you're fighting like the primary enemies, at least from what I've seen, are just like the bunch of different types of like just robots.
Okay.
So it's a third-person over-the-shoulder style shooter. Plays very well. The big twist with Pragmata is that because you have Diana, the girl, she's on your back, kind of piggyback riding you the whole game, and her ability is that she can hack into everything. And so it plays into combat where you have to hack every enemy before you can kill them.
Interesting.
And is this like a Atreus Kratos? Like you play as Kratos, but you have an Atreus button?
No, it's a lot more like, it's like playing a normal third-person shooter.
Or is it Atreus?
It's a
Yeah,
Atreus.
like
Yeah,
it doesn't
I'm not
feel
yelled
like
at,
Atreus
sorry.
feels like he feels more like a separate character because he has there's like a dedicated Atreus button.
Yeah.
Where this just feels like, oh, Diana, like this, her abilities could have been one person, but because we see two people represented,
Okay.
then we know it's her doing it. So like her thing is like when you're aiming like with L2 as you do in a shooter, she'll like point, like she'll do the thing with her hand where she shoots like her hacking beam,
Yeah.
and then it hacks into the targets and it brings up in real time this hacking menu that it's going to be tricky to describe. I haven't seen anything quite like it, but it's like a 3x3 grid. Like imagine like a phone dial pad a little bit.
Okay.
And you see a green node, and the idea is that you're using the face buttons as like the D-pad. So each face button is a cardinal direction, and you're trying to guide a cursor down like each square to get to the green pad, which completes the hack.
Okay.
But then along the way, there are blue squares, and you need to hit those blue squares en route to the green one to finish it.
Those are mandatory.
As far as I could tell.
Okay.
And also, you don't have to hit all of them. And I think because they have a stacking effect where like every successive square that you hit of the same one stacks its effect. From what I could tell playing it, I think the blue ones, which are the basic ones, I think the more that you hit on the way, the longer the robots become stunned. Because when you hack them, they're stunned for a second.
Yeah.
And then because they're covered in armor, which if you just try to shoot them with their armor, the bullets just kind of ricochet.
Sure.
Yeah.
But once they're hacked, their armor just kind of opens up and then exposes all these different like vulnerable targets for you to just blast apart with your guns.
Are they still like moving around after they're opened up?
No, they're just like stopped for a second.
ready to be- okay.
But like I mentioned before, the hacking mini game happens in real time. Like, so you have to do this while like dodging enemies, like they're coming
Okay.
at you. So you have to try to find like, okay, I'm doing it. You know, I might have to dodge in the middle of it. Like you can still do stuff and cancel out of the hack if you need to. Like you have a dodged thing where you're like, because your suit has like rocket boost.
Yeah,
So you can do like a
totally,
thing out of there. And it's really cool. Like it takes a little getting used to, but it gels quicker than you might think. And it sounds weird to describe. It's one of those things like you kind of have to play it to really wrap your head around it. And in the demo, the only like variation I saw of it was eventually I unlocked the yellow node. Whereas if you hit the yellow nodes, when you complete the hack, it lowers your defense too. But since the placement of each node changed with each hack, so some hacks are easier than others to hit all of them, and you kind of have to make the decision in real time of like, am I going to go for every colored node on the way to the green one to get like maximum like, you know, all these maybe status effects I can inflict before I shoot them, or do I have time to do that because I need to get out of this menu now because they're coming at me.
Yeah.
And I just need to maybe just get one and just get to the end. And that was like a really fun sort of balance. Like it added this very frantic kind of pace to what is otherwise like pretty like standard like third person over the shoulder firefights. Like the guns that Hugh had, he has like pretty much a handgun, pretty much a shotgun, and then the most unique weapon I had was called the stasis net, and it fires this like energy field where anything caught within it, they're just like frozen for a second, which is perfect because they're like, oh, I freeze this guy, I can hack him without like unimpeded and then do my thing.
Do you think that it's gonna turn people off the hacking thing? Like having to do that mid combat, is it enough of a puzzle you have to solve while doing it? You have to think about it. That there's gonna be people that are like, oh, I just wanted to play like a shooter.
I mean, I guess so. I could see that if you just want to go in there and shoot things. My only concern too, and also I didn't mention like sometimes the square in there's squares that you can't pass by, so you have to find like a route around it. Like it's just like here's a little blockade.
And is it going like slow motion? Is it stopping completely?
No, not really.
Okay, yeah.
But it takes like 2 seconds. Like
Okay.
like when you see it, like and maybe like I have
I'm just
pretty
imagining
good.
like combos almost, but to you know get through.
I
these.
imagine it's like it's not maybe not 1-to-1, but like entering the in Helldivers, the like
Oh yes.
cheat codes of like I need to do this really quickly to get this, and like that flow of like that doesn't really break up the flow as much as you would think it is. It kind of has that of like it's quicker than you would think when you're like on your shit, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then there are those times in Helldivers where you mess it up. It's like, oh damn.
It is that too. We're like, oh, I messed up, and because and it's not just combat too. Like a lot of the puzzles I found had different types of hacking mini games that are all just different button prompts. Of like one was like, okay, here's like a radial menu with different cardinal buttons that you need to hit. You need to hit them in a certain order of succession, but you have like 5 seconds to do it. So again, it's reflex of like, okay, I think it's X. Circle, square. Okay, now this door is open. There was like one door that had like 5 different hacks I had to go search the environment to find before I could go back and open it or go through it. Diana can also scan the environment so you can find like collectibles, and also it reveals the waypoint of like where you need to go. The environment that I was in was like pretty pretty linear, I guess. Like there were some like rooms you could go into. You're finding like emails and like notes from people. There's like one hologram projection of the crew, but you know it's like very much the space station is like falling apart.
Yeah.
So you're wondering like where everyone is and stuff like that. But it looked fantastic, and the way the combat felt great, and the way the enemies explode into like just this cacophony of metal and stuff. It reminded me a lot of Binary Domain, which is a very one of my favorite B games. Yeah. It was a Sega game from like 2010 or 2011.
Do you know this, Alex?
No.
Okay, well the real ones know Binary Domain.
Oh, Binary Domain. I'm sorry. Yes, I do. I have not played
squad-based like cover shooter.
I know.
Where you fight robots in the future. Yeah, but it had that vibe of just like, oh, these robots blow up real good. I like that. It feels good to shoot these robots. But to your point about the concern, the only concern I have is like, will you get tired of like, oh, everything I shoot has to be hacked first?
Yeah.
But having the status effect nodes like gives me some hope that like they're gonna mix that up throughout the game, but like different types of nodes.
Are there skill trees that might like help you speed up?
I was gonna say that.
I have no idea how progression looks.
I can definitely see you getting like an item that's like enemies of a certain tier and lower, you don't have to hack anymore.
Auto hack, you know.
Yeah,
but like the bigger ones you have to.
I never got to see like any sort of progression. I don't know if you're equipping things. I don't know if you're like leveling up. Like I have no idea if how you're like augmenting Hugh himself or Diana for that matter. But no, it's a cool twist. Like it's like, okay, I don't think I've quite seen this in like a shooter before, and it looks fantastic, just like fidelity wise. Like it's a cool looking game. But yeah, I'm pretty high on it. Like I'm excited for it, you know. And also just as a proof of life, like okay, this game is real. We've seen it. I've played this game. It exists. I think it's gonna come out. So
that like anti-reveal trailer that they did for Pragmata
2 years ago.
Yeah, in 2023. One of the funniest Summer Showcase moments to me. And I thought, like, when they did the fake out of Resident Evil 9 at the showcase this year, I was like, if Capcom does this twice, where they're like, we're not going to show you the game this year, but there's a little trailer about how we're not going to show it to you.
Yeah.
I was like, that would have been really funny. But they didn't, and it was good. And now that this is playing, I'm like, okay, we're back on track. I feel good about it.
I just want to know what team in Capcom is making it.
Sure.
Yeah.
We know, like, we've been to Capcom, like in Osaka, and you told us, like, oh, you know, we have the Devil May Cry team, the Monster Hunter team, the Resident Evil team, the Mega Man team. It's like, who is doing this one?
What was a Capcom game that was like pre-2020?
Oh, pre-2020.
Like, because that was when we first heard about this, right?
Well, 2020, yeah, was when we first heard of it. So, like, Resident Evil 7 would have been out. Monster Hunter World was out.
Yeah, World.
We hadn't gotten Street Fighter 6 yet. And, you know, that's a team, too, the Street Fighter team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, the Mega Man team, I don't know what they do.
The Exo Primal team,
well,
obviously.
Honestly, one of the main Exo Primal developers is on Onimusha.
Okay, yeah.
Dude, they have so many.
I think it's actually the combat designer from Exo Primal is on Onimusha.
Oh, cool. I mean,
I spoke to them also at SGF.
The combat in that game was awesome.
Oh, that was the other theater presentation I saw was Onimusha. That game looks like badass.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, at Xbox today, I went hands-on with the Ally.
Say the name. Say the full name.
Yeah.
Don't think about it.
The Azus ROG Xbox Ally X.
Sorry, what does ROG stand for?
Republic of Gamers.
Did you say Azus?
Azus.
Isn't it Asus?
Asus.
Is it? Are you saying Asus? ASUS, right?
Yeah.
The company, isn't it? It's pronounced
It's
Asus.
probably Asus.
I've always heard Asus, but I think like Azus, like in the is like a word in Spanish, probably.
They're saying like Jesus.
Dude, I can't say Atreus, and I can't say
Well, no, you said Atreus.
no.
They said Atreus.
I said
Oh,
Atreus.
Atreus. Oh, like atrium.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Azus.
Asus.
I played the thing for about
yeah.
8 minutes.
Okay. What'd you play?
I played Gears of War Reloaded on it.
Okay.
That was all I was allowed to play on it.
Yeah.
And it ran like Gears of War, you know?
How big is it? Is it like Steam Deck size or?
I saw it's 700 grams is the weight.
Yeah, it felt exactly like 700 grams, I was going to say.
The Steam Deck is 660 grams, so it's heavier than Steam Deck. Definitely.
It
heavier
did
than
feel, it felt weighty. I feel like it didn't feel quite as long as the Steam Deck, but it's probably the same. It's probably very close.
Like denser.
I think it was just more ergonomically ergonomically comfortable. And so my hands kind of like, since you have the grips, it kind of felt like maybe that was like lending to like, it didn't feel cramped or it felt good.
Were you standing, sitting?
Sitting.
Sitting.
I was sitting. A person came up behind me with it and handed it to me as they were talking.
They do like a reach around the way that you just.
They whisper in your ear. They're like, "My name is."
Actually, it's really funny because they, for some reason, instead of they had two in their hand, one for me and one for the person next to me. And instead of using your left hand to give it to the person on your left and the right hand on the right, they like weirdly switched them. And so
It was like that wasn't necessary.
they were like clearly like, oh, I did my hands wrong.
But I'm committed to this.
Yes,
so.
and it was like this. It was funny. But yeah, I played the thing. It feels comfortable. It's weighty. You feel definitely notice the weight difference.
How long did you play it for?
8 minutes.
8 minutes, 8 to 10
Okay,
minutes.
I was gonna ask like, did it feel like you got hot at all or?
No, there was like 10 of us in the room all playing. They kind of walked us through a guided sort of demo of it. So we started off on the home screen. They kind of show you how you can navigate. There's a dedicated like Xbox button, which is sort of your guide button. You open it up, you get the game bar, which is where you can access settings for the device, like system level settings for like carving out performance, that kind of thing. They are booting straight, and when you open the device, it boots straight into a full screen experience. So you aren't seeing a desktop, you're not seeing the taskbar isn't loading, and they're doing that because it saves. I think they said 2 gigabytes of internal memory are saved by not going to the desktop, and that 2 gigabytes is instead given to the handheld to run games better. Also, it uses 1/3 of the power that it would if it would be booting into the desktop. Yeah.
That's I didn't realize it was such a power intensive thing. Yeah.
I think it's because it's like, just the way that it works.
Yeah.
And so they are like very, very much looking at a system level. What do we actually need on this thing to make this good? But so yeah, there's a dedicated Xbox button. There's a dedicated library button, so that no matter where you're at in a game, you could be on. You can also it also runs. It's a computer, so you can open Discord on it and talk to people. There's a button you can. I think if you hold the Xbox button, it looks like an Alt tab, and so you can switch quickly between your open programs. Nice. And there's like kind of quick resume kind of style stuff. It syncs across various devices. Really interesting if you use that Xbox button to pull up the quick bar, you can right underneath it pulls up your most recent stuff. So it's the most recent games, and then right under that, I'm not sure if it's most recent apps or if they're pinned there or what, but when I was playing it, I pressed the Xbox button. Just under my recent games was a link to a Steam icon, just like natively in the OS, like as if it was just another app. I heard rumor of one journalist in a different section like trying to like press that because you weren't supposed to go and look at Steam.
Sure, yeah.
And I heard from somebody else in the room that it was like, oh yeah, this person like tried to like sign into Steam and stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
and that person was never seen again.
Yeah. But from that story, it seems like you just like open Steam and you log in, just like you would on a computer. But Oh, what's
I
up?
was saying, like, just because it's a handheld computer like Steam, is like, do you think anyone's ever tried to do like actual computer work on like their
Steam Deck?
like their ROG Ally?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Steam Deck.
I know people that have, yes.
Is that a good idea?
They are
You
sickos.
can hook up. You
Like
can
it's like,
hook up,
oh, this is not only handheld gaming, but handheld working.
Sicko.
You can hook up like a keyboard to it or keyboard and mouse to your Steam
Okay, that's
Deck
too
if you
much.
want.
It's like just get you have a laptop or a computer. Like, no, don't do
I
that.
mean, maybe you don't. I don't know. Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah. But also like that cross store functionality kind of extends to your library in general. So you'll just see when you're accessing your library again, dedicated button to open it. You'll see all your games that you own, and underneath of it, if it belongs to like they had Hearthstone installed, and it was like it had a little, it said BattleNet just underneath of that. So like obviously like in our demo I don't think they had any Steam games installed. I think it's probably they probably try to avoid that, like legal reasons with their marketing. I think that's why you don't see it in the main video, because it's not their property.
Microsoft Edge installed.
No, it wasn't. I don't think I could have easily missed it.
I was gonna say, I also bet like they haven't installed Steam games because they just set up a bunch of ones for press. Like they probably just pulled them up clean from the other day.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, you know, it'll tell you where your game is from, but it looks nice and neat, like you would want it to within your game library. But yeah, it played. It was comfortable to play. I'd say like Gears of War didn't blow me away. Like the screen. Again, they picked a very gray and brown game.
Yeah, first Gears is not really the most vibrant game. Yeah,
it did feel like, just anecdotally, like, you know, compared to my Switch 2, which is my hotel room over there, like it feels less vibrant than that. I know the Switch 2 has like, it's working with like HDR.
What kind of screen does it use?
It's 1080p. I think it's like a 7-inch. The one I was playing was like a 7-inch.
LCD?
Yeah, LCD. Yeah, and yeah, it didn't look amazing, but it looked, you know.
Yeah, bad example. If you were trying to play Mario Kart, it would probably look better.
Yeah. I think it was, part of it was, oh, you're showing me Gears of War Reloaded, which is just the old games, you know, with 4K textures. It doesn't really, it didn't blow me away. But
I feel like Avowed would have been a good one to show.
That's a great.
That is one of theirs.
So yeah, still need some more time with it for like impressions from like the screen. And again, it was so quick. Like it was snappy. You know, menus were snappy. They kind of showed us around the OS a lot.
Yeah.
Gears, I couldn't tell. It seemed like it was definitely above 30 frames a second. Okay. I'm not sure. It didn't quite feel like 60 to me.
I think I was talking to Jacob Geller of MinMax about it, and he said it ran at 4K 60 for him.
Okay.
But he was also like that had always been the case with that game, because it's the Ultimate Edition ran at 4K 60.
Sure.
Which is what this really is. It's like,
maybe I think I'm used to playing 120 now is probably what it is.
That's fair.
Yeah.
On like PC, and I'm like, oh, this must be 30.
Yeah. And granted, this is anecdotally. I don't know if that's actually the case.
Don't take it take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, the screen looked serviceable, I would say. Like it looked good, you know, for what I expected. Didn't blow me away. Doesn't look as good as the Steam Deck OLED, obviously.
Yeah.
Nor the Switch 2 screen. It is probably comparable to the original Steam Deck screen, although for some reason I remember that being a little more vivid, but maybe that's just rose-tinted glasses, you know?
What do you like have you played there's other ROG allies, right?
Yeah, there's this was like essentially like almost yeah.
Have you played those? Do you own an OLED Steam Deck?
I have not, but I know friends who have, and I've asked them a lot of questions about it. And up until now, I really wanted to buy one of those because I really play Windows games on it. I have played some other competitors to the Steam Deck as well. But not the ROG Ally. But yeah, you know, I turned the speakers up a little bit. Again, it was like this weird, very quiet meeting kind of, and they had their Xbox Ally hooked up to the TV and docked mode, and so they were playing Gears, and it was coming through the TV speaker. So I was like kind of like trying to like not bother people, but also hear it.
Yeah. What was you say docked mode? Did they have like a dedicated dock?
No,
Were
they just had a
running cords into it?
They had some sort of like USB-C to HDMI or something.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Noticeable on the top of the thing, there's 2 USB-C ports.
Oh, that's nice.
Right next to each other, which is nice because you can plug up a lot of different stuff. It's always such a pain in the butt when you have just one of those.
Yeah.
And now we see it with the Switch too, right?
Yeah,
like
which makes perfect
one
sense.
on top, one on bottom.
Yeah.
These were next to each other on the top. There's also a lot of other buttons on the thing. Like it didn't feel quite natural to hit start. Like where you think start would be is where like the library button is, and where you think select would be is kind of where the Xbox button is.
Oh, they just flip them around.
It's like higher or lower. Like you're saying relative to your thumb position.
Yeah. Just like they're a little lower than I think I'm used to, and in their place were like new buttons kind of. But there's also buttons on the back, 2 buttons on the back of it. But yeah, it felt good. Yeah, I'm excited to see more of that thing.
We don't know how much it costs, right?
No, not yet. But I would guess very pricey for the X, which is the better version. We'll see. I know the ROG Ally, the original, is not a cheap device. Like you're talking $700-800 for based on just memory. Based on what I can remember, but so I think it'll be pretty pricey. But they do have that lower tier model that I'm guessing will be like $400, $500. I don't know. That's just a guess. But yeah, the thing was cool. I'm excited to see more. It's definitely not like I must own this.
Yeah.
But like it was pretty dang close.
Yeah.
Like just like the convenience it brings. I can play my Steam games and my Windows games.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard with stuff like
Xbox
that.
games, whereas Steam Deck, I'm kind of. There are workarounds, but it's like it's not native. Whereas this is all native.
Yeah, I would say it was just the idea that it's not doing anything you have zero ability to do now.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit more convenient, and that's one of those things where it's always hard, where it's like, do I need to spend hundreds and hundreds of more dollars for the convenience because I like the convenience? I think that's like the challenge a lot of people are gonna have. If you don't have an Xbox or a PC or whatever, like this solves a lot of those things, but it is like a
there is also like games will run better because it is native. They're running natively on the device compared to something on the Steam Deck that is like running through like a layer, several layers.
Yeah, like I tried getting UB Connect running on the Steam Deck and it was a pain in the butt.
And there's like just so many like little tools and stuff that you're running to make that compatibility work. That's the game isn't running as well compared to if it runs natively on a Windows machine, you're good.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, we are back at our desk at home, but we will return in the next segment back to Los Angeles in our hotel room with our segment with Rogersbase to talk about the Switch 2. But in the meantime, we have more Xbox games to talk about, specifically what is now my game of the show, Ninja Gaiden 4. I got to Yes, I got to play a rather lengthy demo of it at the Xbox booth. Do we call it a booth? What, like a building that they were in? I guess they
were in a sort of complex.
Yeah, they rented out their own space because they got that kind of money. But yes, I played Ninja Gaiden 4. Of course, this is the first Ninja Gaiden game in about over a decade. Ninja Gaiden 3, God, 2011, 2012, 13, something like that.
Wow, yeah.
Not a well-received game at the time. Which is why I'm happy to report that Ninja Gaiden 4 is as good as it is. For those that don't know, this is actually developed by Platinum Games in collaboration with Team Ninja, but Platinum is the primary developer. Team Ninja is kind of just overseeing it and sort of just giving them notes, pretty much. Which is really exciting for me because I'm a stylish action sicko. I love both studios' work. They're both two of the best action game studios, and that shows here with this game. If you haven't seen Ninja Gaiden 4, you're playing as 2 protagonists. You've got, of course, Ryu Hayabusa, but you've also got a newcomer named Yakumo, who is probably really the protagonist, just based on just how the trailers and even some of the press release stuff have sort of like positioned him. We still have not seen a lot of Ryu like focus stuff in videos. So I played as this new guy, and is just going through a level just in this sort of cool, sort of like futuristic, dare I say almost cyberpunky like city. And I wrote in my preview that you can read online now that you would never guess that this was made by Platinum because it feels like 3D Ninja Gaiden, like from the jump. In that it
What
feels.
was the last thing that Platinum did? Was it Bayonetta?
No, they've done stuff since Bayonetta. Like the last Bayonetta thing they did was Origins, and then
Okay, and that was them.
yeah.
Okay.
There's something in there. I feel like I'm forgetting because Platinum puts out stuff. Was it Babylon's Fall? Was that technically the last thing? There has to be something after that. I hope, because that game was
I'll
not
look it
good.
up.
Yeah, you look it up. But yes, it plays great. It plays like Ninja Gaiden. It feels as tight and fast paced as you would expect. And this is something that is like, in terms of like what Platinum brought to the table. There's a new system in the game called Blood Raven moves, where basically you can hold the left trigger while you attack, and your sword becomes this elongated kind of like crimson blood version of itself. And it basically just deals like stronger attacks, and it's dictated by this meter that builds as you do your regular attacks. And the meter builds very quickly, so it's always going up and down constantly, so it's very easy to just weave blood attacks into your regular combos. So it's just kind of like, oh, you want like an extra punch. Like I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm just anime stuff, but it reminds me of just activating Kaioken in Dragon Ball. Of like, I'm just gonna this is gonna do like twice the damage just regular punch because I'm turning red. That's basically what this is. But it looks cool and it's easy to execute, and it just like it adds another strategy, especially good for dealing with crowds because of how long the sword gets. It can hit just a wider swath of the enemies. And then there's this other new sort of like state that Yakuma can enter called Berserk State. And it's another meter that builds up just by doing stuff, but it builds up a lot slower. But when you do fill it up, you click both analog sticks and you basically go into like a rage mode where you can just tear through enemies, and you can do what's called, I believe, I think it's a bloodbath kill. And it's basically you hold down the attack button, and you have to be careful with it because you might still be getting attacked. But if you can hold it down long enough, you basically do an instant kill on any enemy, regardless of like their health. And it kind of frames it as this like really stylish frame. Like it just goes all red with like black and white, and you just see Yakuma just slice through a guy. Just like, oh, that guy, he's done. He's not coming back.
I really liked how you were like, I think it's called Bloodbath Kill. Like it's such a visceral, grotesque thing. It's like, I think it's called Super Decapitator Murder Slash. I can't remember. I just like that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's what the prototype name was for the Ninja Gaiden series, actually. Yeah, there is a lot of that. Like it's, Ninja Gaiden 3, one of the things that got a lot of slack for, or crap for, was just sort of like the lack of like blood basically, like the lack of gore in the original version of it. That's all back full force with this game. You are slicing off limbs, you are chopping heads off, there is blood everywhere constantly, and it all looks and feels super great. You got like side quests now that you can pick up. You got like a little like talking terminal that you go to. It's like I don't know if it's an AI lady or if there's someone on the other side, but you're going to her constantly to kind of pick up missions. And it's like, from what I saw, like pretty light stuff, like, oh, kill X number of enemies, or like the weirdest thing I did was searching for these weird little like living jar creatures called Gordies, and they're just like just literally just gourds that are sentient. It gave me a little bit of like Elden Ring vibes when I think of like the pop people. They don't look like them, but it's like in that ballpark, so it's like, oh, if you can search for levels, search the level for these guys, you'll get some like extra points. There's like a training room you can do, but yeah, it's a blast. Out of all the games I played during Summer Games Fest, I was I was like the most locked in to this one. Like I was like, just leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. I felt very cool because I was like, playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black earlier this year helped sort of like dust off my 3D Ninja Gaiden skills. So I pretty much slipped right into this. And so they had the developers, like the lead designers from Platinum and Team Ninja in the room watching. And I felt really cool playing in front of them because they were like hovering over our stations. And I was like, I know I'm doing super cool right now. And I bet they're like, wow, we didn't think this guy would be as good as he is because we just put this controller in front of him. And he's doing all these crazy combos and like spinning pile drivers midair, and I'm just like, yeah, I know what this is.
Okay, so it does the I guess like language, the feel of it all. What am I trying to say? The muscle memory.
It's got
is kind of carries over.
Yeah, it's weird, and I'm trying to articulate because it feels the way you would expect. Like I said, if you didn't know Platinum was making this, you would never tell. But at the same time, if you do know that Platinum's making it and you're a Platinum fan like I am, there is like subtleties where it's like I can feel the Platinum in this. It's I'm still trying to figure out what it is. Maybe it's just something about just how fast paced it is, even though traditional Ninja Gaiden always has been. You've got like a split second dodge you can do, which is a bit platinum-y. Like it's not like Witch Time where it slows down time like in Bayonetta, though I hope there's an upgrade that turns it into that, because that would be the most platinum thing. But it like even that feels like, oh, that seems like something Platinum would implement. But there's just little flourishes. Like there's a side character you can meet that you know his presence because you see a little raven that has red eyes, and that reminds me of the familiars from Bayonetta. So just like, I wonder if that's supposed to be like a little nod.
I mean, it really seems like, I mean, if you can't really tell, if it's hard to tell, then it like it seems like they did a really good job then at,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
trying to faithfully recreate this series. So that I mean, that's kind of cool as well.
Absolutely. But yeah, this game kicks so much ass. Like I really can't stress enough how much fun this is. Like if you're a Ninja Gaiden fan or just like a stylish action aficionado in general, you should absolutely have this on your radar. I want to play it so bad. I'm so glad it got a release date during a showcase coming out October 20th. I cannot wait to sit down and just run through this thing. It is so much fun.
Amazing.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Charles, you went hands-on with a couple Annapurna titles, right? I know Morsels as well as Mixtape. Do you want to talk about those?
Yes. I'll do them in order of you mentioning them.
Awesome.
So we got Morsels, which rules. I believe the developer is named Furcula or Funkula.
I think it's like Furcula. I think you got it. Like Dracula, but with fur.
Yeah, which I think is like a type of mushroom or something. Furcula, yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, is it really?
I looked it up earlier and just mushroom pictures came up. Oh no, sorry, I made it up. Furcula is a forked bone found in most birds and some species of non-avian dinosaurs.
That's very different than a mushroom.
Yeah, that's
It's
very
not at
different,
all.
Charles. Were you just Googling mushrooms by chance?
I was probably just Googling. I mean, if you looked at a really zoomed in picture of a bone and a really zoomed in picture of a mushroom, which among us could tell the difference, you know?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
But so in Morsels, you play as a tiny little mouse, and you get the ability to turn into morsels, which are just like little dudes that it's like Binding of Isaac is like the easiest comparison. So it's like twin stick shooter, and then each morsel has a different like firing pattern. So if you're a sunflower, you have this like forked shot. There's another one that has kind of like a melee move. There's one that has just like a standard fire that's just like one continuous blast.
I know at one point when I played it in December, I had unlocked a character. I'd unlocked a morsel. It was like a bubble blast kind of thing. Like you shot bubbles.
They also have they all have a secondary fire too. So there's the first one that I don't know if it's supposed to be a poop, but it kind of looks like a poop. Has like I think has a bubble power.
Like a poop emoji.
Yeah.
It probably is.
There's also a little like a grub, like a maggot that leaves like damaging spots behind it. That can also hurt you, which I figured out very quickly, and I was like, I cannot keep playing this guy because I'm the type of guy that'll like, I can't use bombs in a Zelda game. Like I do, and I do it when I'm supposed to, but I will blow myself up.
You don't do it well.
Yeah, no, I avoid
Charles,
them at all costs because I know I'm
is-
just gonna die.
All you do is move out the way.
You know?
you just step.
He keeps
you just
planting
step,
them at his feet.
It's like you literally move
Instead of
like
throwing them.
2 tiles away, and you're good.
You'd think I would understand, and yet I have.
And yet here we are.
It just
I mean, that's
destroys
me
me.
playing Mario Kart. Not to get the timeline of this podcast all messed up. But yeah, I mean, whenever I throw a bomb in Mario Kart,
You
I
throw it
always
ahead
run into
and then
it.
just run right into
Yeah,
it.
always without fail.
Drive
Yeah.
right into
Yeah.
Anyways, but so it leaves a trail of like bullets behind you, and then if you press the special button, they all home in on like an enemy, which is really cool. So you'll hit them with like 10 shots at once. Anyways, the thing, so it also has like a really cool art style. It has like a CRT effect on the screen, so it makes you feel like you're playing a weird old like Super Nintendo game. And then it's part Binding of Isaac. It kind of part Spelunky in the way that it has like these puzzles that go from floor to floor in the roguelike that you're doing that you might have no idea what a thing is, and you just have to do it. And then eventually you'll be like, oh, I got to get the ticket to give to the weird bus dude that's going to take me to this place. It's going to do XYZ. And then it's also kind of like Pokemon because you've got all these morsels you're collecting. You can have 3 in your inventory at once, and they all have separate health bars. And if one dies, then obviously you can't use it anymore. But those are kind of like your lives, so you can like swap between them. If one dies and you get a new one, then you have like another life essentially. And if you use them enough, they evolve, which is cool, and they become more powerful. But I don't know how many stages there are, but I was sitting with the developer and he told me that if you evolve them enough times, I don't know if it's like to the 3rd stage or like past the 3rd stage, then they die. So they also have like a finite amount of usage. So you can't just pick one morsel that you like and then like ride with it the whole time. You got to like balance your way between them. Or maybe you'll be like, this guy's pretty close to dying potentially, so I got to swap it out with a fresh one, even though it'll leave me weaker. So it's like an interesting dynamic. And when I played
that's just how humans work.
That is just how humans work. Yeah, just on an accelerated timeline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it. It was a great demo game. Always nice. Roguelikes make really good demos because you do one run and you don't do very well, and you're like, I feel like I could do that again. And it's like, well, I guess you'll have to buy the whole game. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It is part of Steam Next Fest. I don't know if that'll still be going on when this episode comes out, but if you want to try it yourself, you can for free, and I recommend it.
Yeah, it's also worth noting Toby Dixon is sort of like the head honcho behind this game. I got a chance to meet him and talk to him at another Annapurna event that I mentioned in December. And Toby worked on like Nidhogg 2 and Atomic Crops, and you can definitely see that art style, that sort of like really colorful. Like everything's spilling with color, but there's a grunge to it. There's
everything looks fleshy.
There's a texture.
Yeah,
like
there's a really cool texture that everything has.
Yeah, is swollen the word? It's like everything looks swollen.
Yeah. It's kind of like toys for boys in the 90s and early 2000s, where it would be like the girls get the little pet shop things. It's like, and the boys get the stinky trash monsters. Collect all the stinky trash garbage toy.
Yeah.
It kind of has that like, so it's like kind of nostalgic and like purposefully gross, but like not so gross that it's actually gross, but just kind of that aesthetic.
Yeah, I think it's really well done, really pretty.
Yes.
There's a gorgeous quality to it.
Yeah.
And of course the soundtrack being done by Sam Webster of Grindstone fame. I actually got to talk to Sam in Toronto back in January for a trip for a documentary I did on Grindstone that'll be coming out soon on my personal project channel Vport. But I was talking to Sam about Morsels, and he was saying it was just so fun. He's doing sound design on it as well.
Yeah,
and they're having a ton of fun making this game, and I can't wait to play the full thing. It's going to be really cool, I think. But sorry to interrupt. What else have you been playing, Charles? Mixtape?
Yeah, the other one I played was Mixtape, which Marcus, is it fair to say your like game of the show was Ninja Gaiden 4?
Yes.
Okay, my game of the show was Mixtape. Alex, I don't know if you claimed the game of the show. I think you told us off camera it was probably Outer Worlds, but then you changed
maybe
your mind
Outer
like 4
Worlds or
times.
Luminous Arise or Thick as Thieves, despite not playing it.
But Mixtape was mine. I was already interested in it purely on vibes alone. I honestly didn't really know what this game was. I just saw like a trailer and I was like, a nice artistic coming of age story. Sign me up, because I'll just play any game like that.
Yeah. Did you play The Artful Escape at all?
I did not.
I was wondering, like, did any of that like fandom transfer to this, or?
No, it was I didn't even know it was those people. I think I have been reminded several times, but it was not like a thing I remembered about the game.
Sure.
But the way it is it's basically like little playable music videos that happen through a story. So the main character, Stacy Rockford, she like talks to the camera like she's Ferris Bueller. It's very like cinematic. The cutscenes are very like fast paced in a way that like there's a whole thing about when you look at stories and like cinematography in video games, a lot of the times when we say like a game has a good story, it is within the like bubble of like good story for a video game. And this one was very much right out the gate. It was like, I could tell they were being very intentional about like where in the frame this character was and like when they were saying their lines correctly. And when you go through these things,
The actual interactivity, you're not doing all that much, but it is like so well thought out that I'm never like bored because the scenery is changing and I'm always being engaged by like the story and the stuff or whatever. So the very opening is just you skateboarding down a hill. It has like pretty simple skateboarding mechanics. But you're going along to a song that has like claps in it, and just when the claps come, all the characters on screen clap their hands in sync as if they can all hear the music. So it's kind of like, it very much like breaks the fourth wall a lot. And then when you're in between songs like that, you get a bunch of like stock footage from like, I like caught the developer as I was leaving. I was in like an overflow session where I got to play the game, but the dev wasn't sitting next to me. And he was like, yeah, I got all this stock footage for really cheap from the like Australian broadcast network or something. So it's like old B-roll that they used for news programs and stuff. But it really like adds a lot of texture to it of being like, I don't know, when she's talking about older events and like the beginnings of songwriting and recording, you're like, oh, this is footage of people, you know, mixing audio in the 70s or whatever.
It really kind of reinforces it.
Is this,
kind of,
this game isn't set in Australia though, is it?
No. At least
No.
if it is, it's weird because none of the characters have Australian accents.
Okay.
that's where the studio is based, though.
Yeah. They all kind of talk like this. I'm going to be the greatest music supervisor in the world. That's my plan. I know it's not New York because she's going to go to New York, and that's going to be a big deal.
It's kind of Valley Girl.
Yeah.
Valley adjacent, yeah.
It almost makes me think it's like a Washington or an Oregon. I don't know.
Sure, Pacific Northwest.
It sounds very campy
Yeah, it's
in a good way.
Pacific Northwest shonen character.
It's very much like, it knows exactly the genre it's trying to like fit into and like kind of make fun of, but also kind of engage with earnestly. I think that's a lot of the reason it works so well is it's so earnest in the stuff that it does, and how like even when it's funny moments, it's not even portrayed as like, you as the audience member are perceiving it as funny, but no one in the thing is like, this is funny. There's a sequence where she's like reminiscing on, I don't know if it's her first kiss or just like a memorable kiss she has, but it's like a flashback. And there's like a song playing, and it's like romantic, and like the sun is setting, and their lips are getting closer together. And then it cuts to a mini game where it's just like an X-ray of their mouths. So you just see like their jaws and teeth, and then their tongues, and you control each tongue with one of the analog sticks.
That's so funny.
And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I don't know if there's like an objective. And after like 30 seconds, you can just press A to say that's enough. And I was like, I don't want to.
Just playing.
That was
tonsil
enough
hockey.
for me. But I like how quickly they're like, look how serious this is. And it's like, also, they're weird teenagers that don't know what to do with their tongues, and we're going to make fun of that. And then my favorite of the sequences is like the last one you do is they're thinking back on a time they were at like a party and everyone's like drinking. They're in high school. And then one of their friends is like super drunk right when the cops show up, and they're like, oh no, we got to get out of here. So they throw her in a shopping cart and then ride the shopping cart down the hill. And it starts off as just like a quick, it's probably using like the same mechanics as like the skateboard section. It's just like a quick kind of, you're just dodging obstacles as you go down the hill to get away from this one cop car. And then like more and more cop cars start spawning in. And then like one like skids across the whole road, and it gets into this like, it pretends to be super intense. And then you're playing through the news feed of a chopper that's following you as you're going on the highway in a shopping cart at full car speed. And then it ends with you crashing into the water, and then one of the guys is like, at least that's how I remember it. And it's like, oh, none of that actually happened. I was like, this is kind of crazy that this happened.
Unreliable narrator.
Yeah. So I appreciate that I think the unreliable narrator is a good phrase, because it's very much like it's a high school story told by what it felt like it was when you're in high school. That's what I like a lot about coming of age stories, whether it's like this or like Life is Strange or even like Spider-Man, where it's like, this is a kid and they're being very overwhelmed by all these parts of your life. And even when you are that age and like the overwhelming things are like learning how to drive and getting your homework done and like social pressure or whatever, it feels like, you know, you're running from a cops in like a crazy high speed chase, or, you know, you have superpowers all of a sudden. So I feel like it really captured the vibe very well. And for it to be like a narrative game that had such a good demo, I was like, that's particularly impressive, because I feel like it would be really hard to explain a lot of my favorite like narrative-driven adventure games in like a 30-minute sit-down time slot. So, favorite game I saw, definitely gonna be playing that when it comes out for sure.
Awesome. Well, we are going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will be back at the hotel talking with Rogersbase. I'm going to be sitting out. Roger's taking my spot, but we had a really great conversation about the Switch 2. You can see Marcus's first reactions to holding the console.
Almost
It's a
breaking
good
it.
time. And if we don't talk to you at the other side of this, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Game Informer Show. I am Marcus Stewart still, but I am not alone, and neither is Charles Harte, who is also still here, believe it or not.
And I'm never leaving.
No, but to talk all things Switch 2, that thing came out this week, believe it or not. Of all the other things happening during SGF, we have a Switch 2 expert, none other than Roger from Rogersbase. Hello, sir.
Hello, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Good to see you again.
I was gonna say it's been kind of weird because like within the last 2 weeks, going from Orlando, seeing you, going to Epic Universe,
Yeah, we
going to
Epic
Combo
Universe
Breaker,
together.
right?
Yes.
Which we can talk about
Yeah.
if you want to. The Donkey Kong Land, like 10 out of 10.
Fantastic.
But going from Epic Universe to then Combo Breaker to, like I just told you guys, officiating a wedding last night, to here, then off to Mexico. So it's been a crazy 2 weeks for me amidst the Switch 2 launch, but I got a lot to talk about. So whatever you guys want to talk about, I'm here for.
Yes, we have a Switch 2 here,
right.
next to us. I feel like a QVC host. I'm just holding up this product.
Our own Van
Alex, I
White.
want you to put like a lower third with like the price and everything. This is also the first time I've held a Switch 2. Mine still has not come in the mail as we're recording here.
Marcus, you gotta do the magnets.
That's right.
Wait,
have to
how do
click
you
them
do
on.
it?
Okay, so click the little buttons on the back.
Okay.
Hold them down and then pull the thing off. That's it.
I was like, what if I break it? This is Alex's Switch 2. Like, if I just break it on camera.
That'd be a really funny prank. We got like a fake exploding Switch too.
Right, exactly.
How do you put it back on? Do you just snap it back
It
on?
just, yeah, magnets right there.
Oh, wait.
Snaps back on. It feels
What's
pretty
the
nice. I know, watch the amazement.
Oh, wait, we got to do the blue one, too. I'm sorry.
Yep,
We gotta-
yep.
Wait, okay. There we go. This is good podcasting right here for
yeah.
audio listeners. If you can hear the snaps
The little
of
click.
the Switch 2, I have removed both Joy-Cons from the Switch 2 and put them on successfully.
Yep.
Great job, you Nintendo. You did it. Big thing. So, but yeah, you have played more Switch 2, I think, than any
Yes.
of us up to this point.
Yes.
What are your impressions of the console so far? What do you think of Mario Kart? Where are you at right now?
I mean, where do I start? I think first and foremost, my initial impression when I went to those Switch 2 experiences a couple months ago was like, oh, this is just like a nicer Switch. I'm somebody who is like notoriously a Nintendo fanboy, right? So I kind of knew right from the get-go, I'm like, I'm gonna like this thing regardless. And it's a new Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
of course I'm gonna play this thing.
Yeah.
But as I've actually gotten to experience it over the course of this week, like, man, I am digging it. I really am. And as somebody who like primarily plays in handheld mode, I was just talking about the fact that like I travel a bunch.
Yeah.
I feel like I have been sort of like honed in on my Steam Deck and my Switch for like a really long time. And obviously we've gotten to a point now where like so many games just like do not run on the Switch. And when you have the Steam Deck right there, you're like, well, this is great. I've got a flight coming up. I'll play my Metaphor. It's gonna be awesome. And then you get on that flight and it lasts like an hour and a half. And you go, oh, okay. And then, you plug your Steam Deck into the thing. It doesn't even charge.
I gotta fly to Japan 10 more times a year to beat Metaphor, I guess. Yeah.
Right. And so the first thing I noticed right away, because I do play in handheld mode, is like the battery life is longer than I was expecting it to be. So I've almost primarily been playing Mario Kart Tour in handheld mode, like either while traveling or like even just while sitting at home. And it's lasted usually like, if I don't have it all cranked, like around like 2.5 to 3 hours, which is like pretty good considering that's like double what I was used to on my Steam Deck.
Sure.
And I just feel like everything kind of surprised me actually holding it in person, like having it myself, more than it did at the Switch 2 experiences. I feel like the system itself, like you just held it, feels a lot more premium than I was
it
expecting.
does feel like sturdier.
Yeah, and like
Check out the kickstand too on the back.
Oh, yeah, it's like a
that's
whole,
a real
like-
nice.
whole big thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
Isn't that nice? No longer the little flap that you'd have to
Yeah.
order separately off of like Nintendo.com.
I remember trying to play Switch 1 on like a road trip in the back seat with my brother, and just that one tiny kickstand falling over all the time.
Did
Just
you guys
as
have
simple
you
as this?
done
it's
this
like,
yet? You can kind of put it on your
Maybe that's
wrist.
his Switch. Maybe do not
Oh.
balance it on your
I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and I'm like, oh, it's like a little dual disc. You can kind of like like a little data pad.
Angle it a little bit.
Yeah. Pro tip for Switch 2 owners: you should do that.
I do not do that. No. But I feel even like the game card things, so like where you put the game cards into the old Switch. Remember, it had that weird little flap that you had to kind of do with your like nail to lift the thing up. Now it's like on the right side. The USB you can charge from the top too, as well as from the bottom. So it's like a lot of small things that you're not really going to notice until you actually like have the thing in your hands yourself and you're doing your day-to-day stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, this felt worth it. Yeah.
The exact kind of thing you want from a second version of a console is it's like when you have all the people, I mean, presumably working Nintendo, but also just across the world that have played it, and they're like, these are all my tiny little pet peeves. It makes a really big difference to fix like 10 of them at once.
Yeah, and the Joy-Cons obviously too, with the click versus the slide. I mean, that's another big one. But everything so far has run great. I think like one of the first things I did, I was lucky enough, Nintendo sent me one a day early, which like I did not expect. And so they were just like, here's a UPS order. And I'm like, I'm scrambling. I'm like, SGF, and I got this wedding. I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I just like went live. I streamed it, went live, downloaded all the games that had the free like Switch 1 to Switch 2 upgrades, and just tried them all out because the servers weren't even up to like play online.
Which one has impressed you so far in terms of upgrades?
Pokemon is like a different game.
I was gonna ask,
It is like shocking how much different it is. Like, I am not somebody that's a big like frames per second kind of guy. Like, I can't really tell the difference. This one was like substantial difference. You tell right away. There's more Pokemon that are populated in the areas as well. Yeah. So like, if you're a shiny hunter, that's like a big thing. Is like you have to go through and do the little like auto battle things to get your little Pokemon. It happened. One of my friends, V, is like a huge shiny hunter, and she ended up getting like 3 of the ones she wanted right away on the Switch 2 version.
Yeah. I wonder what that's going to do for sales of that game specifically, because I think it's sold fine because it's Pokemon, right? But hearing that it's basically a new game, like how many people were turned off from like that really bad launch of Scarlet and Violet?
You know, surprisingly, not a lot. Not to cut you off, but I was like, I think it's like the 2nd or 3rd best-selling Pokemon of all time.
But I'm wondering, like, will that like raise more for the people that did hold off and they see now, like, hey, this is what you wanted at launch, more or less. Like, it's like, I'm more interested in diving into it now, but it's on a better console than I would have been on Switch 1. Yeah. So I'm really curious to see how like, if sales spike at all because of that, I'm like, this is the good version, everyone. Right. Did it. Yeah.
I do feel like it's more of a litmus test for what's happening coming up with that new Legends game. Just like Legends EA. I feel like if the Switch 2 edition plays even at all, like this Scarlet and Violet edition, I do think people are going to be pretty happy. The other one that like I noticed right away, and it doesn't even have one that's like an established upgrade, is Smash Brothers. Because there's currently a weird glitch where like if you play with Mii Fighters online, it like messes up your game, so don't do that. And they said they're gonna patch it immediately.
How does it? Oh, you're saying on Switch 2?
On Switch 2. If you play with like the Mii Fighters online, I don't know the specifics, but like I think it's because of the way the Miis are integrated into the system this time versus like the old one, where now I think the Miis are genderless, and so there's like this weird thing where it's like registering the Mii thing incorrectly or something, I'm not sure. But the one big thing, notoriously, with Smash Ultimate is like when you load up the costumes, you know how it would take sometimes like forever for the PNGs to load? Yeah. It's instant now. So you boot the thing up, you load, and like the stress test that we did on stream was 8-player ice climbers, have all the ice climbers exclusively on Fountain of Dreams with like the reflections and everything. Ran perfectly. 60 frames, great, all the way through. And so I'm like, that is kind of what I wanted from this system. And so little by little kind of discovering that stuff with like those free upgrades has been just fantastic. Yeah.
All right. And of course, go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say another one, I haven't gotten to use it yet, but it was one I don't feel like I've seen a lot of people talking about. Mario Odyssey got an update. It did. That you can use Game Share now, which is the thing that is like DS Download Play, where like you have one console and you have the other one and you can share the game with them. Right. So one person can have Mario Odyssey, other person doesn't have to have it, and then they can play as Cappy. And that's just like a really nice, I don't know, I just thought that was cute. I like the idea of, and I don't know how often they'll do it, but I would love to see Game Share just going to a bunch of older games. I think that would make a big difference.
I mean, I think there's already like 12 that have been updated. All the Marios except Wonder, probably because they're making Switch 2 edition, I don't know, but like, makes sense. But all the Mario games except Wonder, Clubhouse games, which is like makes a lot of sense to have download play, and even some stuff like Game Builder Garage got mouse controls. So you can like design your games with mouse controls, which is kind of cool. So I do think more's on the way.
Mario Maker 2 would be great with mouse controls.
Oh my god, yeah, Mario Maker 2
like for the level editor?
Yeah. So I do think that is probably going to come at some point. And so seeing more of these kind of like erupt out of the ecosystem of like, you know, what games are going to get Switch 2 upgrades is kind of going to be this big thing for Nintendo Directs, I'm assuming, moving forward, of like, these are the 5 games we're going to update for free, and here are the ones that are Switch 2 editions that you pay $10 more for. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, the main event of the Switch 2 launch is, of course, Mario Kart World.
Yes.
You have been playing a lot of Mario Kart World.
Mario Kart World.
What do you think of it? Where are you stacking it so far? Like, are you having fun with this game?
First off, I'm having way more fun than I was expecting.
Really? Yes. How did you feel going in?
So when I went to the Switch 2 experience, my big thing coming out of it, people can go back and like watch my preview. And again, I am like notorious Nintendo fanboy. I was like, I don't think Mario Kart's really worth the money. I was like, free roam.
Yeah.
Seems kind of cool, like, but it seems kind of bare bones. I'm like, the knockout tour mode is great, but like, I don't necessarily think this is gonna be like this big game changer. The game chat stuff is so goofy with like the camera and everything. I'm like, I don't think I'm ever gonna use this. And overall, I was just like, I don't see myself like wanting this. Like I did what you were talking about, right? It's like, I'm getting this for Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And now I'm like 20 hours in and I'm like, oh, this is the best Mario Kart they've ever made.
Whoa.
Like
Better than 8 Deluxe.
Yes.
I think that was like, that is, to me, felt like an impossible bar for them to hit.
And I think it's because of
also
the
I
gameplay.
booted it up because
perfect.
Yeah.
So you can play where you're doing it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just ignoring you.
no, ignore me by all means.
Just playing Mario.
I feel like free roam mode, I still stand by what I said at those experiences. I do think it's very bare bones.
Yeah.
There's like the P-switch things and there's other things you can unlock. But for the most part, you could unlock the majority of stuff just by playing Grand Prix, which already was like a pretty huge, like good surprise to me because I'm like constantly unlocking characters or costumes, the Kamek abilities that happen where if you're in a race and then like someone gets the Kamek item and you're in front, it transforms you into a random NPC from like Mario history. So you'll turn into like the Cataquax from Mario Sunshine. I mean, like deep lore.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like how
stuff.
you probably haven't seen all of them.
No.
Like, I wonder how deep that well goes. Of like, I've not seen this particular sprite since Mario 2 or even maybe like Mario Land. I don't know if it gets to like the handheld stuff or not.
That's the cool thing about this, which I think as a Nintendo fan is what's making me go like, oh my god, I love this. Is that it's canonizing so many like side Mario games into like the overall lore of Mario to make it feel like
Wart canon now.
So Wart didn't show up yet, to my knowledge.
Okay.
I have not seen Wart. WarioWare is totally part of this. There's like orchestrated remixes of WarioWare music that plays in free roam.
Okay.
You've got like Yoshi's Story, Donkey Kong Country, Luigi's Mansion, and just a lot of stuff. And the weird thing is those songs, a lot of the time, are only in free roam mode. So like when you're exploring the world, they'll just randomly start playing.
Yeah.
And that's honestly my big gripe right now. I'm like, there's no jukebox mode.
That is very weird.
I'm like,
the
you have
idea of like you are
150.
driving for like presumably hours on like the open road. Like I'm just cruising around. You have all this music. Like you would think just like 2 and 2. Like it'd be cool if you had a car radio.
Yeah.
To just like I just want to do like my road trip Mario fantasy. I'm just like, maybe this is what Mario does when he's not like rescuing the Mushroom Kingdom every other week.
Just driving around free roam, listening to WarioWare music.
Like like some people like to drive to nowhere as like a meditative experience. Like in my head canon, I would like to think Mario does that too, because that's the only reason why he keeps a cart.
Sure.
And then he happens to race when it calls for it.
That is, it's funny you bring that up because I think one of the other cool things about this is like you do kind of zen out a little bit when you are in free roam and you run into like those little bags.
Yeah.
Because the fast food bags basically unlock costumes. So what you guys saw in that trailer where it's like you drive through the little Yoshi stop or whatever, every area essentially has like a Yoshi's, like a little fast food area. And when you drive through there with your characters, and you could see the amount of costumes you could unlock. It's ridiculous.
I know, right? I was just showing all the different carts and stuff. This is really turning into a QVC commercial.
Yeah, I mean it is. To be fair, I'm sure Nintendo is very happy with you. They're like, this is great.
Or they're going to be like, yeah, we don't want your game on this. Take it down.
But it's like the amount of costumes that you can unlock. Like you're constantly just getting stuff for all the different characters. There's like I said, deep lore cuts. There's also just like weird stuff. There's like a Waluigi costume that unlocks that turns him into a vampire.
I was going to ask, like, what's the weirdest thing you've seen?
My favorite is also kind of the weirdest, which is the Pirate Wario and Pirate King Boo. So there's a level that's based like, I think it's Wario Shipyard, and it's like a ghost ship cool environment that you can drive through. And when you get the fast food in that area as King Boo or Wario, they turn into Pirate King versions of themselves. And Wario straight up like looks like Gold Roger from One Piece, and Boo has like a hook for a hand, and it's just like the costumes are really detailed and just like amazing. Seeing the love and dedication that they put into like all of the other stuff in the game, I think is something that really sold it on me because again, I wasn't like sold immediately at the Switch 2. I did like Knockout Tour, which is
I was going to ask you what you thought about Knockout Tour because it sounds cool.
Do you like F-Zero 99?
Yes.
Okay, you will love Knockout Tour.
Okay.
So F-Zero 99 is essentially that. as a mode where you choose like 5 courses or 6, one of the two, I don't remember. But you choose like 5, you all enter into a race, there's 24 of you. And it's just one continuous like long rally that you're going through basically. And every time you go through one of these arches, it tells you a ranking.
Right.
And if you're underneath that ranking, then obviously you get eliminated.
Right.
That gets so hectic. And we were streaming it. It's like insane.
Like it sounds like the Mario Kart's already like you're screaming at each other and punching each other on the shoulder every 2 seconds because you're getting screwed over some way. That sounds like that's double. Like just it's like you're like, oh, I was almost there. Like you already feel that sting of defeat when you are about to win and somebody laps you at the last second. But knowing that you are now like done from a mode, like just done. Yeah, like that will probably ruin more relationships.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe murders might be committed in the name of knockout score.
Yeah, right.
You know, we'll see.
It's been crazy because I feel like that actually goes into the other thing that I was like not sold on at all at the system during those events. That now I've played and I'm like, this is so dumb. I love it, which is game chat.
Yes.
So when you click,
Just gonna ask, or the camera. I don't know if you have a camera.
So I got one of the cameras. They sent one of those over, and the camera's got obviously the crunchy like automatic green screen or whatever in it. But I was streaming just for fun, like on launch day, with 12 of my buddies, all different streamers, and we're like, let's just test game chat. Like let's full room of 12 online, all talking over each other, 4 cameras, everything. See what this is like. It is the most fun I've had on stream all year.
Okay.
And it's like we're screaming at each other. You're seeing everybody's faces, especially because like there's 3 options for game chat. There's like a little face window that basically like just picks up your face. There's a window that's essentially your webcam window that has your whole background. And then there's one that's like a filtered out version that then has your screen in the background. And so all of us were using it in different ways and like yelling at each other while we're on the racetrack. And at first, like it was just fun to see people's faces as you're like racing and just have it native to the system. But then like we literally felt like we were in a Switch 2 commercial because after one of these knockout tour things, you go into free roam mode, essentially. When you're in a room, you can like drive around and do a bunch of stuff. And my buddy Coast was playing and he's like, oh, by the way, you guys, like if you want the costume that I'm wearing, just drive down to this area by Peach's Garden. And we're like, where are you talking about? He's like, oh, look at my screen. So we like expand the screen and we're doing this on stream. And then we go on to his thing and we drive down and we're like, oh my God, we're literally like, we're that girl on the roof for the Switch commercial. Like this is us. We're doing what they want us to do. But
shout out to the girl on the Switch commercial.
Shout out to Girl on the Roof. We're having her on the next segment.
If I got a surprise for you.
But it's been a blast playing through it in a way that I really was not expecting. And I feel like I was almost worried that Mario Kart wasn't going to hold me over until Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And now I'm like waiting for them to be like, I'm sure they're going to expand this with DLC.
That's what I'm wondering, like what the DLC looks like. Like you can add more course like it, but will they expand sort of the free roam? Like will they add more maps?
Sure.
Basically,
I feel
you know?
like you can definitely see them like adding a new island that has a bunch of new stuff.
I guess if you just add a bridge.
I think that's
over like the water. Like
I do think that's what it's going to be.
And,
because the way that the world is set up, I don't really know like how they would make DLC courses in the middle of what's already built because so much of it is tied to like secrets and rails that lead to other things
it's very
and circuits.
Purposeful. Yeah, you know.
But islands, I do think make sense. And the one thing I noticed right away, which I don't think Nintendo wanted us to notice this, but like I noticed right away, is that all of these characters have so many alternate costumes, except for 2. And that's Donkey Kong and Pauline. Donkey Kong and Pauline are the only 2 that only have 1. There's a certain game coming out next month, a new Donkey Kong, that I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna do like a free DLC upgrade thing for Mario Kart where it's like, by the way, here's the other 6 Donkey Kong outfits and they're all tied to thing with Bonanza or like, here's Pauline's stuff. I do feel like that is how they're gonna go about doing this. So if they do upcoming islands, like I can imagine when they announce like, oh, Luigi's Mansion game eventually, it's like, here's the Ghost Island, you get Professor Egad and like all the weird Boo item NPCs or whatever. Or like, here's the Yoshi story and you get Poochie as a racer. Like, I do feel like that's how they're gonna expand, you know? Because early rumors with this game were like, oh, maybe this is gonna be like their take on Smash Kart, right?
Yeah, like it's just everybody in.
Right,
yeah.
And now that I'm playing it, and now that I'm seeing the love that's been put into like the stuff that's Mario canon now, like what they consider there, and it's all tied to stuff that like hasn't been announced for Switch 2 yet, I do think that is the direction they're gonna go, and it's like a WarioWare Island, a Yoshi Story Island, a Luigi's Mansion Island, a Donkey Kong Island.
I would say it's interesting in Mario Kart 8, they started going kind of wide with the franchise stuff where they're like, we're gonna pull, you can be Animal Crossing, you can be Link or Zelda, or Zelda's not in it, but you know what I mean. And now they're going deep. They're like, let's actually you can be the little crab enemy. Yeah. And I think it's like a really interesting I think it's almost like in a good way like a rejection of the Smash Kart idea.
Yes, I agree.
Of like, you know what, this is Mario Kart, and it's weird that you could play as Pink Gold Peach and not Nabbit. So let's just really drive it in.
Almost like they're daring. Like, you don't think we'll make Monimo a racer?
Oh yeah, we'll make Monimo and we'll make his
We got
cousin.
that stupid dolphin with the goggles from Mario World.
Who rides on a
that
dolphin?
thing's a racer. Like,
Yeah,
that doesn't
right.
make sense.
Right.
But he could do it.
The fact that they're like, you can be Cow, and everyone's like, oh my God, there's Cow.
I want Charge and Chuck.
I think he's already in there.
Wait, is he in there?
I'm pretty sure he's already in there.
Then
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else I want. There's probably, I would like Mario Galaxy representation.
So there's,
in some way.
one of the stages is like amazing, which is the new Rosalina course. There's a Rosalina Observatory like Ice Palace course.
Wait,
that
did they do the
happens.
song?
Well, there is a lot of Mario Galaxy music. There's the da 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 da. That's there. There's like the Space Junk Galaxy. It's like the dun da 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 dun da 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 dun dun. That's there. And when you're driving up into the Rosalina Castle, like in the observatory part, there's this giant like Sistine Chapel thing up there with like the galaxies and all the little lumas and stuff. up
Bowser
there.
and Mario fingers
Yes,
in the fresco.
Exactly. And it's just like, it's when you go to it for the first time and you see it and there's all the little particle effects, it's like your jaw does kind of drop. The only thing is Lumas aren't racers, which is weird. There's no Luma racer, but I feel like it's coming.
Lumas are way too big, like side characters to not.
Yeah, but otherwise there's a ton of Mario Galaxy stuff in this, like more than I was expecting. I feel like if you have a favorite Mario game, almost definitely there is something in this for you. Like even Mario Land fans. Like the weird stuff from the Game Boy Mario games, like the Moe statue enemies and things like that. They make that now, like, which makes sense, part of Daisy's kingdom. So like when you go to the bazaar type area that's in the desert, like that's where Daisy comes from.
Yeah,
Sarasaland.
Sarasaland.
Yeah, Sarasaland. Or whatever. So now you're like seeing the giant Moe statue heads and you're seeing all this weird stuff and Daisy's in like her cool little like Princess Jasmine outfit and you're like, this is badass. I love this. More of this, please. You know?
Make the alien saucer from Mario Land 1. Just make that a cart.
Yes, or make him a character.
Yeah, or even better, or just like do that. I'm trying to think of the weirdest thing to do. Make Flood a racer.
Flood,
Totally, the jetpack in the car and it's driving like
Flood could also be a cart, I think.
Cappy could be a racer.
I'm shocked there is not a cart that you unlock with eyeballs on it that is Cappy as the car.
Yeah, that's another one where it's like, it is crazy how much of a conspiracy theorist it turns you into of like, maybe Mario Odyssey 2 is coming out next year, and that's where all the hats are coming in.
And plus knowing, like, again, I say this with affection. They've gotten so stupid with the roster.
Yes.
Of like, it's just like, okay, so there's no like wrong answer apparently about what could be in a seat of a racer. It can literally just be like one of those happy clouds in the sky. Maybe that could be a racer.
There's quite literally Snowman. I'm like, I don't even remember Snowman in any Mario game prior to this. And they were like, no, it's the Snowman from the ice area in the old Mario Karts. I'm like, that's a character? I thought that was like stage decoration. What do you mean? So
put the little desert dudes, the little snack guys that you eat with Yoshi.
They have, so one of the ones I literally
Wiggler's
just unlocked.
a racer, isn't he?
Wiggler's
so it's like it's the same thing. Basically.
They have, one of the weirdest ones I've unlocked were in 3D World. You know, like those giant cranes with the long necks that like slam down on the stage?
Yeah.
Those are racers.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so you unlock this like giant neck thing that's just like slamming down.
Put that realistic T-Rex.
There you go. With the cabin, yes. Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Just shrink that model down and put it in a car.
That's crazy. You say that. There's literally a Dino Jungle area in this one that like they could have totally done that as the NPC character you unlock there. I don't know why they didn't do that.
I love that you can say the phrase Dino Jungle and it's like we know exactly
that's
just how they do things there. I did want to ask, kind of going back to hardware, but also this. It's like 4K now if it's docked.
Yes. Yeah.
Marcus, I don't know if you've seen the new dock in person at all.
It's over there,
It's right there. It's off camera, but
Is it plugged in, Alex?
No.
It's not plugged in. Perfect. Here we
the
go.
dock on camera.
Look at this.
It's very round.
It's first time touching this too.
I don't think I realized the back was so round.
It's got that fan in it, right?
He's doing fine. It's resting. This is a really an endorsement for the kickstand.
That's
it's
right,
like,
exactly.
It is.
I know.
It could not be more snug.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, this thing's. I mean, the build quality is definitely better.
That's kind of the main takeaway I took from everything Switch 2, like having in my hand, is like, oh, this feels premium.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the one big thing is I feel like the prices for the games, I think for the most part, were what kind of surprised people. I feel pricing wise, like 450 is kind of around, like it's a little more expensive than what people were expecting.
Sure.
But I think kind of tracks for what it is. And it really does feel like a 450 system. Like it feels like you're getting your money's worth, which is cool. Yeah.
I think my one gripe, and maybe I was doing it wrong, but the back panel, it does the same with the OLED. It like pops off completely.
I hate that too.
And the way
like when you want to plug it
Yeah,
in.
it's like the hinge isn't as good. Yeah.
Alex might scream at you, but it's supposed to come off.
Right.
When you pull it off,
How do you?
You just
Maybe
literally.
you should do
I'll
it.
do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll
You
do
know
it. Here
what
we
you're
go. Yeah.
All right,
So
we're
when you
gonna-
just pop it off, see how it's got this like a little hinge that comes off? It doesn't like fully connect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
slide in there. The OLED is similar.
Yeah.
And it bothers me because a lot of times you're gonna have the back of the dock against the wall next to a
Right.
TV, so you're gonna be popping it off, and then it's gonna kind of fall off, and it's gonna be like between that and the wall.
Yeah.
That's the one part that has felt.
Yeah. I mean, it pops back on easy.
It does, yeah, but it's like other than that, I like how it looks.
Yeah.
It also,
I do too. Yeah.
The little
I like
rounded look of it, I think, looks good.
Yeah, it does look pretty slick.
I will say I'm in complete agreement though, especially like on the streamer side, is because like when you're
Yeah.
constantly taking
Oh,
things
yeah.
in and taking things out in HDMI, it's like I just keep it off now. I'm
Yeah.
like I make sure to dust back there so nothing gets in it, but I'm like I just keep the thing off because I know realistically like I'm gonna be taking things in and out. It's got the Ethernet port back there and everything, and it's like I don't want to be the person that gets on Street Fighter on Switch 2 and then they're like, oh, he's on Wi-Fi. Like get him off of here. Get this Wi-Fi warrior out of my thing. Yeah.
Did they include the wrist straps still?
Yeah, so the weird thing is the wrist straps they double as like a mouse mode edition thing.
Oh.
So see, they're like
Yeah.
these little raised.
We've got
extra
more
areas.
accessories coming on
see.
camera
Oh, the
here.
Joy-Con grip I actually really
So
like.
we'll do
Yeah.
these first because we're talking about them. You can hand me the dock if you want.
Yeah, here we go. We'll take this out. Dock
All
there.
right, so we got, here we go, the wrist straps.
Here you go.
To make sure that you
One
don't
Joy-Con.
throw these out the window or through your TV.
That's right.
Other
I think
way?
it is the other way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Marcus,
yep.
you gotta use it as a mouse too. You haven't done that.
Yeah,
right.
can you play Mario Kart in mouse mode?
I actually have never tested it. I don't know.
I haven't heard anyone really talk about that.
I
Like,
think you would need to point at, but you can like.
well, I mean, just like to steer, or I guess I don't know. I don't know why you would want to do it, but
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah.
it just seems like I guess if you could do it,
They should have a drag X drive mode.
Right, like a
where you
test
just-
demo thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like that would be like the humble brag of someone that's really good at Mario Kart but only in mouse mode, and they just like kick everyone's ass.
Just destroy
Like that's gonna be
everybody.
someone's like they're
right.
like I'm gonna dedicate myself to getting good at Mario Kart in mouse mode.
I do wonder because we were talking about like the future of Mario Kart, right? Like and things that they might add in terms of like DLC roadmap. Paid DLC, I do think is like islands and characters, but I do think there will be free DLC. Like I think one of the big things when I was going through it is like I just unlocked mirror mode, which like a lot of people are like, is mirror mode even in this anymore? Because you go through all the cups, you get all the golds, and you still don't unlock it. And you're like, well, and you've unlocked all the characters. You're like, this is weird. How do you unlock it? There's these hidden medallions that are on free roam mode, and when you collect 8 of them, it's just weird random number, and you do the special cup again, you then unlock mirror mode. But the weird thing is it doesn't unlock mirror mode in free roam. The way to unlock mirror mode in free roam, which I literally just found out 30 minutes before coming here, is that, and I found this out on stream, is that there's Peach's Castle on the actual map, like the Nintendo 64 Peach's Castle. When you are driving off one of the areas onto the roof of Peach's Castle, you know, like in the old game where Yoshi was standing, and you drive into the stained glass window, like the Peach stained glass window, it mirror modes all of free roam mode. And now the entire map is flipped.
Crazy.
Which is so, and it's like, I don't know how people discovered this.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
available anywhere. Obviously, none of us got review codes other than like a day before.
Yeah.
So people are like trying to figure out like how to do it. And that is, I guess, how you do it, is you unlock it by driving through the stained glass in free roam on the top of Peach's Castle. And I don't know if you have to like already unlock mirror mode as a Grand Prix before you do it, but it's just weird stuff like that that's making me go like, oh, they really did like put the love and the kind of like, you know, that childhood, oh, this, you could do this thing on the, you know, like this area and then try to unlock this thing. So
I
it's great.
love that because it encourages you to try to do weird stuff like that in the future. Of like, what if I can get in this window? Or I can go under here, and yeah, I love that.
Yeah. That's great. Also, I'm trying to see what was that? Oh, this is the
So you can click one of these onto there. I don't think you
I
can
don't think
do
you
it with
need
the
it
strap.
with the strap. Yeah.
But you can definitely do this one if you want to click it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try it with the blue
Yeah,
one.
I was gonna say because the other one, yeah,
Also,
that one's got the
I don't know if
strap.
anyone's talked about it. I love the color strap. I like that these are accents now.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm the like bad person that didn't like the red blue Joy-Cons. Like, I bought the gray version.
You're not a
on
bad
purpose.
person. You're fine. Yeah.
It was like, oh, it's a little too much color. It looks a little too much like a toy.
Sure.
I think this is perfect. It's got like an old school like 2011 back when like blue and orange was the craze.
Mm-hmm.
So this is you slide it in just like the other one.
Yep. There you go, and just clicks right in.
I
That's
want
it.
to, yeah, hold on. Let me take it back out because I
Yeah.
want to really make sure. The mic probably got
other
it. Do
thing-
you want to,
real
for
quick.
audio listeners, just hold up.
So click that. Now, while it's there, try pulling it out without doing this.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You can't. It's sturdy in there. I mean, literally, people are doing stress tests and doing videos. It's like, that thing is sturdy. That thing is like kid-proof. Where with the magnets, they actually are strong and they do click in, and you really do have to click the button in the back.
Infomercial from Mighty Putty.
Yeah, right.
And, Ben and Janet from Minmax, they did a test at the Switch 2 event. Right in front of the Nintendo people. And they eventually got it off, but it was like one person holding it, the other person holding
Wait,
it.
are they using like their demo units?
Yeah, the ones that were available at the.
It's
Have
like,
you not seen this
when
video?
they like technically break.
The staff member was right there, like sweating, like trust the product, it'll be good. And it was
Jordan
fine.
Peele sweating me.
Yeah, it was totally fine. Yeah, it clicks out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Hearing when it was like just rumored that it was just magnets, it was like, that sounds cool, but like I don't know enough about like industrial magnets to like, is that like a commercially viable thing for like a essentially just a game console, like a toy more or less? That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
We did our little like day one Switch impressions right up on Game Informer. We all just did a little paragraph of like things we like, and one of mine was just like, I just like magnets, and you don't really get magnets in your day-to-day adult life all that much, and it is just fun to just be like, I like it.
I feel like we take magnets for granted now.
We do.
Yeah, they're crazy. That's right. That can be a takeaway from this. Joseph's magnets are crazy.
Magnets, how do they work? That's it. That was the old, bringing it back to 2006 or whatever. The old memes.
And we posted it, and one of the, it was like CGI editor's day one impressions, and then it had a quote from me about childlike wonder in magnets. Someone commented like, what? Someone's supposed to spend $450 just for some magnets? And I really like that interpretation of it, that I was like, this is the little thing I like about it. And they're like, oh, so I'm just because you like magnets so much, I'm supposed to support it? I was like, I didn't say that.
Got Magneto over here just throwing money around, just happened to be here.
Exactly. But overall, I will say, because I know we got to wrap it up kind of soon, I will just say, like, I was very impressed in a way that I really was not expecting. I knew I was always going to like it, because again, I'm a Nintendo fan. Like, of course I'm going to like it. It's where I'm going to play my next Zelda, my next Mario, whatever. But I feel like I got my money's worth. Like, you know, even though they sent me one, but I still bought one from Target, so my girlfriend's got one too. And I like don't regret it at all. It's been really awesome.
That's awesome. Great, man. Well, thank you so much for
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the tips too for Mario Kart World.
There you go.
Some
I know you got
really
the secret of how to unlock
things to
mirror
keep
mode.
in mind.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. And where can people find you, man?
You can find me on YouTube at Rogersbase, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Yep. I got brand unity everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Well, that's the show for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, the print magazine and digital magazine is coming back, and we are going to be announcing our first cover story here in the next week or two. So please go over to gameinformer.com/subscribe. Please consider supporting us there, picking up a membership. That gets you access to a ton of web perks as well, like reduced ads, exclusive content, so on and so forth. But it's a great way to support Game Informer, to keep the lights on, and to get 10 magazine issues a year delivered to your door in the US. We do hear you. We have brought up to our bosses that, hey, people really want this in other countries, and other territories. And so that is, we are hearing your feedback. We are taking it to them. No promises, but at the end of the day, we really appreciate all the enthusiasm behind the magazine, and the enthusiasm behind bringing this show back. It's been great to go and read folks' comments on Spotify, and just seeing the ratings and reviews on YouTube, that kind of thing. It's really great. So thank you all. We will see you next Thursday. Have a good week, everybody.